Senior final coming up. Lucas Ellingham on pole position. Sam Heading in second. Hey John, you never know. We might actually finally see these two go back toe-to-toe out on track. Carly Atkins on row 2 with Sam Shaw alongside. Row 3, Marcus Littlewood and Harry Torpey alongside. Row 4, we'll see Vishal Patel and Thomas Fleming, with row 5 consisting of Jordan Brown and Oscar Joyce. Row 6, Archie Forber and Hugo Gilbert. Row 7, Alex Johnston and Louis Johnston-Cool. Row 8, Reese Newburn and Brandon Matchell. Row 9, Luke Taylor and Joe Charlton. Row 10, Benjamin Southgate and Jensen Buckingham. Row 11, JP Sleater and Jake Yanagasawa. I'm going to go with that. Well, John's nodding his head, so I'm going with that. Row 12, Christopher Bingham and Christian Brooks. And not quite the end. Row 13, Thomas Mullett, Harry Cottrell alongside, with row 14 being Remy Gilbert and Tom Ryan. Row 15, William Smith and Lucas Gross. And then finally, Niels Coolan will make up the 31 kart grid. So here we go, the Senior X30 final here at the WMKC Whilton Mill Kart Club is about to get underway, and I believe we are racing. And look at the aggressive manoeuvres over from that right-hand side, left-hand side of the grid, I should say, actually. The number 99 of Lucas Ellingham going defensive to start with, head down. In fact, he doesn't need to go defensive because the driver behind him is Callie Atkins. I believe Sam Heading, I don't think, is actually anywhere near, not even in the top 3 as they came across the line. I think the inside row got such a good start compared to the outside row. The top 3 actually now consist of Lucas Ellingham, Callie Atkins and Marcus Littlewood, who all started on that inside row. So yeah, there's probably an argument to say that maybe they should have gone round again, but they haven't, and we are racing, so these drivers are going to have to deal with it.
I can hear Lucas Ellingham telling you to shut up in my headset. So yeah, possibly the left-hand side getting a better start. But anyway, the race started and we're good and going. Lucas Ellingham leading this one, takes a bit of grass on the inside there. Not the best grippiness for the tyres, but he's doing a good job of it, as you say. Callie Atkins just behind, as that's a move. Number 7, that's Sam Heading, as you say, started P2, finally gets back past Marcus Littlewood, so up into P3 again is Sam Heading. We know he's extremely quick, so makes the move stick pretty quickly. But look at this. there aren't any gaggles even yet. Like, it's just one long train of X30 senior carts.
I know, it's like watching the Honda Cadets.
It really is, isn't it? Somehow, even though they've got maybe like 3 or 4 times the level of power.
Yeah, exactly. It's but that's what we like to see. The Honda Cadets is very entertaining because they do end up in a train for pretty much the entire race, don't they? And whereas the X30 seniors, you do end up getting a little bit more of a gap, and there's a bit more of a skill disparity potentially because of the experience that these drivers have. Yeah. But it can be very, very entertaining, and it can produce moves like that. And that's Fleming launching one at the inside of the number 18 of Shaw.
Indeed, that was a very optimistic move, but it worked perfectly, no contact involved, so great move from Fleming down the inside of Sam Shaw, as you say. But yeah, with the Honda Cadets going at the slower speed kind of lets you play out what happens in a race at a slower speed and lets you work it out at that kind of pace, as you then go up the order to something like an X30 Senior, where it's all happening at a ridiculous speed, and you need to be able to do the racing as if, like, completely with your subconscious mind, but your conscious mind is completely focused on what is going on around you because it's all happening so quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And the sensations when you're driving a quicker car obviously become a lot more as well. In the Honda Cadets, you probably feel every bump in the road. You'll still feel every bump in the road in this. It's got the same suspension in air quotes, i.e. they don't have one. But everything's happening so much quicker, so really it is sensory overload. There's a reason why we put kids in slower cars to start with, put it that way. So yeah, no, this is very, very impressive. And Ellingham and Atkins, I tell you what, Atkins I think is doing a better job than I expected. I mean, that's no offence to Atkins, but it's more props to him that he's able to keep up with Ellingham and Heading.
It's not how bad Atkins is, it's how ridiculously good Ellingham is. Yeah. Like, it's amazing that Atkins is keeping up so well and still pressuring Ellingham. This is great. Still just under 9 minutes to go, but like you were saying with the forces, they're so strong, you can't really tell from the outside. It's only maybe the one point you could tell is going through the boot.
Yes.
Watch how their head is trying to detach from their body. As, oh no, the 67 is out. Let's have a look who that is. That's Reece Newburn parking it up at the final corner, and he's out of this one, so not the best final for Reece there. But yeah, as we say, coming down the back straight, you'll see them go into the boot, and their head literally looks like it wants to leave the rest of their body as they go through the right-hand side. You just see with a second place man, there you go, just trying to hold it on as they're going through the right-hander. It's amazing. And how I remember a lot of like Super GT videos I've watched, say, of him when he first tries out these carts, just going, I can't hold my neck up. I cannot hold my neck up.
It's a lot worse if you're taller as well. I always had that problem. My brother did as well, and we used to have to, you probably see it in lower end karting, not necessarily, obviously not here, but it's called a neck. It's a neck brace. We used to call it a neck nibbler. It's basically a foam ring that you put around your neck underneath your helmet, almost like a very, very basic idea of a hands device style thing. And it's to protect your neck from your head with that helmet on. It's very heavy, and the G-forces you put through it means your head does wallow around a bit, and obviously you don't want to click your neck or anything. So we used to have to wear that. My mum, it was the only thing. It was the only thing my mum would like make it happen. She'd be like, if you don't wear it, you're not racing. That's just the fact. So I think Tom got away with it towards the end, but I never did. And that's to stop that sort of head roll, and you see it in younger drivers especially, because obviously these guys in the senior categories, they're still teenagers, but you grow a lot more. You are stronger as a person, aren't you, when you get to that age?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, you're a big boy now. You make your own decisions whether to wear the headrest or not.
I mean, it does make it doesn't look as good, I will be honest.
No,
it makes it look quite funny if you wear a neck brace.
Honestly, if it looked better, I'd probably wear it on the safety aspect, but they just look so odd that I would have told her, no, Mum, I'm sorry, I'm not wearing that. But I've just been lucky.
Then my mum would say, well, okay, you're not going racing at all.
Unlucky then, mate. I think that's pretty fair. Mum's just looking out for you, being a good mum at the end of the day.
And I did flip the cart too many times to not wear one.
Okay.
So, I mean,
I think that's fair enough. For your specific situation, yes, I would agree with Mum. I would agree with Mum. But right, let's look back to the action on track. Lucas Ellingham just starting to pull out a lead now, about 0.4 of a second, I'd say, over Atkins. But now, about a kart length or so. Heading, though, has overtaken a decent amount of karts. We have got a move looking there for fourth place, though. Was that Fleming, I think, going down the inside of Littlewood? So a change there for fourth. Going to follow him through. Indeed he is. That's the 18 of Sam Shaw. Sam Shaw following Thomas Fleming through to take fourth and fifth place respectively. Littlewood now down to sixth, but Heading still putting in great pace, and it's just about catching Carly Atkins, I'd say. About 2/10 between them, 4/10 off the leader of Ellingham.
Yeah, Ellingham doing what all good leaders do, isn't he, at the moment, where you pull a gap by maybe 0.5 a lap, and you're able to put in that lap time consistently. It's not the case of he's got one flying lap in him, then he'll maybe get caught up a little bit. It's the fact that every single lap is within 0.5, and that's always 0.5 quicker than the other drivers, and that's why that gap is just eking out, and that's why Atkins is struggling so much. Well, not struggling so much, but he's sort of struggling to get close enough to make the move, even though he looks like he should be close enough to maybe pull him in. It can be a little bit deceiving. It's just the consistent nature of Ellingham right now, and Atkins and Heading. They're all doing very consistent lap times. It's just Atkins and Heading are just slightly slower than the likes of Ellingham. But all three of these drivers are performing to the highest level at the moment in terms of their consistency, their lap times, their race pace. Everything is really very, very impressive from all of these drivers, but particularly the top.
I've just seen a move at Christmas for second place. They're right at the edge of the camera shot. I'm pretty sure I saw Heading go down the inside, and they did indeed. So that's Sam Heading through on Carly Atkins there at Christmas Corner to take second place. And I was going to say, as you were saying that, Sam Heading is just a little bit faster than both Atkins and Ellingham. So let's see how this plays out. Now, Heading has got through on Atkins. Can he start to close in on Ellingham now? Now, when we say faster, last lap it was 0.06 of a second. So this really isn't big kind of gap we're talking. 4.5 minutes to go, half a second. If Sam Heading just gets a few hundredths faster per lap, it could be on.
I just spent about 5 minutes talking about the fact that Ellingham is about 0.5 quicker over about 3 or 4 laps, and if Heading can do the same thing, he will rein him into the point where we're actually looking at a grandstand finish.
And it's like you were saying earlier, it's so much easier to be that chasing kart than it is to be Ellingham out in front.
Yeah, by miles. I mean, it's so much easier. I mean, if you want to sort of visualise it, when you're driving home on the motorway today, or next time you're driving home on the motorway or anything like that, and you know when you sort of somebody's driving really fast behind you, then they get past you and they slow down.
Yeah.
That is sort of that similar thing, and it's because they're chasing up to you. Then all of a sudden they've got clear road ahead of you, and they realise how fast they're going, or they sort of just stop concentrating on chasing something. Subconscious, it happens, and it's the same in racing.
Just as we say that, new fastest lap for Mr.
Wow.
Ellingham out in front. So we say one thing, that's wrong, and then we say the opposite thing, and then now that's wrong.
Welcome to being a commentator.
So there we go. Lucas Ellingham, 44.81 for Ellingham there on the last lap, a 44.88 for Sam Heading. Not his fastest lap, that would be a 44.87 for Sam Heading. So some pretty close lap times between the guys at the front. That gap has increased from 0.5 to 0.57 seconds on that last lap. 3 minutes now left to go in this X30 senior final. Not sure we're going to see any changing now at the top, but we'll keep an eye on it. Who is this we're looking at? This is Fleming, Shaw, Littlewood, Forbes in it now. So Forbes gotten involved with this battle. Well, currently looking to try and get sick, but it will be fourth in the end if they're all able to stay together. And Forbes we haven't yet seen really in this race. Just looking to attack Littlewood here into Christmas Corner. Not quite going to happen. And another person that we maybe sort of forgotten about is Lewis Johnston-Cool as well there in 8th place, sort of in a bit of no man's land by themselves. Yeah,
and completely off topic, nothing about the racing. But I will say the number 14 Forber, I do prefer the old style nose plate with a nose cone. There's not nose cone, is it? The NASA panel.
Yes.
It's just something that I know it's a bit flatter. It might not look as flashy when you're just looking at it, but it's a bit easier to read.
I think it's better for us as commentators, but I have been told I'm not actually sure if there's any. If it's any faster to use the new one or the old one, I don't really know.
It's one of those psychological
I don't know.
things, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But I've got to say, from a looks wise, both of them have nice positives, I think. But yeah, from reading it as a commentator, the old one is a bit better.
Yeah, and we can clearly see that the number 14 is now ahead, can't we, of the number 11 of Littlewood. So
Indeed.
Forber is ahead of Littlewood now, and as I said, because of his nice NASA panel, that's a lot easier to read, and we can figure that one out even when they go towards these corners. People at home probably think we're being really picky and we're really pessimistic, but that's because we are. Yeah, it's because you're right. We sit and watch karting and cars all day long. We form very petty opinions about things.
Over which nose go, which NASA panel is our favourite. Yeah, we are that boring.
Yeah, indeed. A minute and a half to go, and I'll tell you what, look at Heading. You know when we were talking about Heading catching up potentially, and Ellingham a little bit, that was half a second. 3.5 tenths.
Yep, yeah, it was 0.57, wasn't it, a couple of laps ago? Now 0.35, a minute and a bit to go. I don't know if he's just left it a little bit too late. However, being that close might just give him the extra waft to be like, come on, let's go for it. Let's just send this move when we can. But Lucas Ellingham, well, both Ellingham and Heading, both very, very knowledgeable racers. As here we go, they appear back on our screen into the boot. However, I do think, it's going to be very close on the timing as whether they're going to get 2 more or 1 more here. 47, 46, 45. I think they're just going to get 2 more laps here. Yeah, crossing the line now. I think it was just 2. We'll wait and see as they come through again. But the gap, again, just slightly shortening, only by about half a second. I think that time around, maybe just less than that. Sorry, half a second? Half a tenth, I should say, sorry. Yeah, half a second, that would have been meant to be in the lead by now. But no, half a tenth, Sam Heading. Still closing in on Ellingham, but only just about. And the 41 of Carly Atkins, still very much there, only a second off of them. In, again, a kind of no man's, no woman's land there in 3rd place for Carly. So don't think there's going to be any catching up there to happen for Atkins, but still has won a very impressive race there in 3rd.
Yeah, you know, I've been waiting all day for these two to come basically nose to tail or wheel to wheel sort of thing. And they've left me to the last lap before we start to go.
Guys.
I want them to give that the crescendo finish now, because I feel like they've been baiting us. They've been teasing us now. As Ellingham looks over his shoulder into Christmas Corner, he decides not to defend too much, doesn't need to. That experience is starting to come through. He knows when he's in danger, and he knows it now, because look at that defensive manoeuvre to the middle of the circuit. Heading is breathing down his neck. The 99 versus 7, it's the first time they've come together all day, and it's starting to build that last half a lap with Heading going towards the outside, towards the boot. They are wheel to wheel. We've been praying for this, and it looks like Ellingham going for that tight line, maybe went in a little bit hot, tries to park it on the apex, but here comes Heading, goes through. Ellingham has second, with Heading taking the victory. Atkins comes home in 3rd. He tried to take advantage, it wasn't to be, and the grandstand finish, the crescendo of the X30 senior finale here at the WMKC did not disappoint.
No, I'm not sure Ellingham was too happy with that over the line. Let's see what happens here. So 7 goes to the outside. Obviously, Ellingham covers the inside, gets squeezed out here. Ellingham, you see, goes deep and then tries to hold it on the apex on exit, but just opens it up a little bit earlier than maybe he should. Dives down the inside, goes to number 7, but then again squeezes across, makes a bit of contact on the left rear, but both of them staying relatively intact. I think Ellingham's front nose cone will be all right there. But yeah, what a win for Sam Heading. Closed him in throughout the race and took it on the final corner.
Well, it may have taken... apologies about my voice. It may have taken about...
We'll recover it.
40 minutes worth of racing to actually see them go and make a move on each other. But it was worth it, I would say. And I know Ellingham won't be very pleased about the fact that Heading sort of squeezed them over. To me, that was I mean, it would have ended, if they made contact or not, it would have ended up the same way. And luckily, if Ellingham hadn't finished, or it would come third instead of second, I think there definitely would have been a case for it. But the fact is, the stewards would look at that and just go, well, it was probably going to happen anyway, it was his corner sort of thing. So
yeah, exactly. No, I think it wasn't even like he was sticking a nose in, like he was practically ahead, I think, by that point.
I mean,
it was just a bit too much of a squeeze moving over, and again, they stayed in the same position, so what can you do, really? I thought that maybe our third place driver of Carly Atkins might just steal it from Ellingham now on the line. I saw they were really trying to get it out the corner as fast as they could, but not quite enough of a hold up for either Ellingham or Heading to cause a surprise win for Carly Atkins there, sadly, in the end. But it looked like the top 3 all made it through okay, all nose cones okay, but there seems to